Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. I worked hard on this one because, what this whole week, Sarah's smug about her mug. And you should be, you were number one on the mug. So you can write that on the bottom if you want to or something. But what I want to talk about this whole week, we're going to be talking about the different things that we need to do in order to connect the dots. Now, I've shared a lot with you of what I think motivation is and what it isn't, and how we have too much of a reliance, maybe. Am I crooked? I'm sort of crooked on motivation. But it's something that's manufactured after the fact. We don't have to wait for it. We just need to do, and then the motivation shows up. We've talked about that before because I think a lot of times it's cart before the horse kind of a mentality. But I will tell you right now that motivation is something that we all need to connect to. We all need to connect to, and it's easier to get than we think it is. And we all have this intrinsic need to have motivation and to connect with other people, right? And did you know that's like the biggest secret sauce right there? Is your connection to others is very motivational. Have you not noticed that? Have you not seen that? Especially in the Hot Melt 30, when we did 30 days, this is connection. It made all the difference because you'd post something. And if you look in our group lately, can I just tell you, in our group lately, people have been going, I will say, the extra mile, and have been willing to put themselves out there, willing to be vulnerable, willing to basically open the kimono and say, hey, I need help, or this is hard for me, or this is what's going on in my life. And, I see this, and all I want to do is just say, I applaud you, because the more we do of this, the more we're going to get of that thing that we want, which is connection, which is motivation, which is support, encouragement, and a sense of belonging. That's everything. As a matter of fact, there was a Harvard study, 80 years long. It's ongoing. They started it 80 years ago. That proves that our well-being is 100% connected to belonging. So when I'm making all these like rah, hey, go belong to the Hot Melt Sprint group, I'm not just saying that because, hey, it'll make you feel good. I'm saying that because it's an intrinsic need of yours and in mine, because it's in our DNA. It's how we're fearfully and wonderfully made. Get it? Connect with that. That's really important. And this, again, will help us to secondarily start to connect with our own motivation, because somebody's going to motivate you, and I dare you to motivate them back, because you can. Because it works that way, because something's going to spark something inside of you and make you go, aha. Like, hi, Kathy, it's good to see you. She loves her new mug. It's just the truth. Think about Marguerite and all her beautiful postings during Hot Melt 30 and how she was showing all this nature stuff, flowers and plants and beautiful. Everything was just beautiful. And it sparked inside us a real great appreciation. And we looked forward to Marguerite's posts. We look forward to Norma's posts every morning. We look forward to hearing about how somebody else is doing. We miss someone if we can't see them. We missed you, Janet. I'm so glad to see you. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, Kathy or Terry, you can catch the replay, but stay safe and stay well. And all of this helps us to understand better how to connect and how to be more motivating and how to be motivated, because it just is. So when we want to connect with our own inner motivation, it's an important thing that we understand that we want to be a part of this village. We want to be a community member. We want to be one of the tribesmen, woman, whatever. And you know what this helps? This belonging part, it helps with our focus because we feel centered. We feel like we have a seat at the table, right? And the part of creates a bond. It creates a sisterhood. And you know it. I'm preaching to the choir here. You know this because you're living it, you know, just by being a part of it. But to find our motivation, even in community, it boils down to several factors. And I'm going to bring these all out. I've got 10 for you. If you're note takers, you're going to want to rip out the pencil and paper. You know how I am about pencils. Always a pencil because look, eraser. Always. You know, and I love it when you take notes, or if you're not getting our show notes, really interesting, really easy. And tomorrow's show notes will be in tomorrow's news. Today's show notes will be in tomorrow's newsletter. And you just go to savingdinner.com and probably an annoying pop-up will come up and just sign up. Otherwise, you'll find it on the page on how to sign up. And you can choose, you know, whether you want daily or a weekly digest. I say go for daily because that's when you're going to get the latest info. And like I said, these show notes are everything because these are instructions, things that you could do, things that are going to make you say, aha, and things that are going to help you to move that needle to become the woman that you want to be. You know, none of us are there. Have you noticed that? We're not there. But guess what? We're working our way there because that's where vibrancy isn't on the there. Vibrancy is on the path. And isn't that so exciting? I like that. Vibrancy isn't there, it's on the path. And when we get there, when we're on that path, boy, doesn't it feel good. It feels good to be on the path. It doesn't feel good to be off the path. That's why I say, don't go off the rails, stay with us, and don't leave your community. Hey, Mimi. So here's the first one. What is going to keep your motivation? Well, it's the first thing is knowing exactly what it is that you want. Exactly. I think a lot of times we get just way too general with things and we're not, you know, we're just kind of, well, I want to lose some weight. Well, exactly what? Exactly why? What amount? By what date? You know, and of course not being ridiculous about the whole thing, but giving yourself some measurement, giving yourself some numbers, giving yourself parameters and goals and hurdles to fly over, you know, or crawl under if you have to, but whatever. When we do this, you know, we're cultivating a hot desire. And just for fun, I'm going to start calling it the HD. We all have one. We all have a hot desire. I have seen women do amazing things because of a hot desire to want to get into a little black dress to go to their 20-year high school reunion or to get into the dress for their wedding. You know, they have a hot desire to get there. And then everything goes to hell in a handbasket when it's all over because, you know, that hot desire is left. What about a longer term hot desire? Well, that's something that you have to work on. And that's where your why becomes even more important. So I like to say that we want to be compelled and not repelled by simply showing up. When we show up for ourselves on a daily basis to do the work, which by the way, this is all about the work, that you can't fly there. You can't magically sprinkle unicorn dust and show up and get what you want. There's some rolling up the sleeves involved. There's getting your hands dirty, you know? Live life in HD. Amen. Isn't it so much more fun too? I mean, I love having a goal and an idea and everything. By the way, this shirt, this was last year. I could not wear this shirt. It was too tight and too awful. Not anymore. It's nice and loose and fits like crazy. I was really happy for that today. And I was also happy to throw out a bunch of stuff that I didn't like anymore and it was way too big. Yay. That is a hot desire. I have a hot desire to cull my closet. I have a hot desire to wear the clothes that are sitting there that I have a hot desire to wear that stuff. Okay, then do it. Then that means you're going to have to show up and do the work. That means your excuses are going to sound really pathetic because your hot desire is not putting up with it. You know, hot desire is sitting there and going, come on, girlfriend, let's go. Let's go. Let's get that smoothie made. Let's put your supplements out. Where's your hydration station? Hot Desire has no patience for excuses. Hot Desire is all over you like white on rice if you feed that and stop feeding your excuses. It's all about what you feed. So we also, number 2, we have to be data driven, and that is so interesting because I was reading this guy, I got invited to this Facebook group. It's about data driven fasting. Really interesting. I went through some of his stuff and some of it's good and some of it isn't, but good point. Why don't we know where we are? Why don't we take a look at where our fasting blood sugar is so that we can know how long we can fast? Why don't we start looking at the numbers a little bit better? It's absolutely true because that's the guideline, because that's going to help us for us to be able to train our hunger hormones and be able to do things a little bit more accurately. We're going to add unicorn dust to the Hot Melt Sprint group. Why not? So when we're data driven, it guides you just like the speed limit on the highway guides you. It tells you what you should go to. And it's giving you the maximum, and then there's always a minimum as well, right? This maximum speed limit lets you know what the limits are. And we need to know that. And you know what happens if you're going over those limits and there's a cop nearby? You're going to get a ticket. So for us to be data driven, we need to be data driven by what number do I start with? And this is perfect number 2, right, for the Hot Melt Sprint starting on Monday. We always start with 2 numbers. What's on the scale and what's on the end of that measuring tape. And we write it down because what's measured gets improved. That is a fact of life. What is measured gets improved. We have to start somewhere. When you leave the house to go somewhere and you're thinking, okay, I've got to drive all these hours, you're gonna enter that information into your GPS. But you can't do it if you just put an end place. If you don't have a starting place, your GPS isn't going to know how to guide you. This is the same thing because it also helps to drive Hot Desire. What do you want? Well, I don't want these numbers. Okay, then let's fix it. How do we fix it? That means you're going to have to do this, this, and this. And then we go to the place of, here we go again, 12-week goals. What can I break down into a 12-week goal to get what I want? And you're writing the goal down every day. You want to talk about Hot Desire? There it is. Showing up in your face, coming out of your hand, in your head, connecting. Heart, mind, body, soul. When we connect all of those dots, that Hot Desire is just going bing, bing, bing. And let me just tell you, does Hot Desire not motivate you? Of course it does. Hot Desire says, get your butt out of the chair and let's go work out. Hot Desire says, no to the crackers and cheese. Hot Desire says, you don't need that. You want that. And that's not what I want. And then you have a fight, And in the end, if you're wise, you're going to give in to Hot Desire and not to your own base needs or your own base whatever, the old thing that you've always done. Let's go back to square one. Let's go back to Hot Desire. Hot Desire is going to call you. Hot Desire is strong. It's really, really strong. Hot Desire is going to get us to the place that we want to. That's motivating. But those numbers, they're everything. So, we're going to get out. We're going to get out the measuring tape on Monday. We're going to get out the scale. We're going to get out the water and measure how much water we need for our hydration stations. All of that will drive this Hot Desire, and therefore, boom, to the moon, there goes your motivation, right? It's all done. It's set up. It's ready. It's exciting. And number 3, motivation or the lack of it is a driver for your physiology. You know what I mean by that? I mean how you stand and how you schlump. If you ever listen to Tony Robbins, and there's a few other people who've talked about changing your physiology will change the way you breathe, your endorphin level, everything. Have you noticed how you feel when you're saying, I don't want to work out, I don't want to work, and then you go work out anyway, and the way you feel after? Compare those two. I mean, it's just night and day. That's motivating. That's motivating. It's just getting over that little gap of just the I don't want us. That's a bridge we all have to pass over, by the way. You don't get to opt out. If you opt out, then you don't get to have the vibrant life you want. Choose. What do you want? This is what you need to look at. So I say that motivation loves a high vibe tribe. It does. Stand up, sit, put your shoulders back. Look at, there's your clavicles right there. Yeah, bring out your clavicles. Sarah, I'm just saying that. Yes, stand up, put your hands on your hips as if you are Linda Carter in Wonder Woman. Chest back, and just hold your head high, girlfriend, because this physiology changes your entire physiology. It says I can do it. It says I feel strong because you're a part of the high vibe tribe, right? This is the whole thing. Look the part. If you don't feel it, just look at least for a minute, because there's all kinds of things that you can do. This posture, this standing like Wonder Woman. You can also bring in some other things. Again, physiology. Kitchen's closed. What does that do? It changes your mind. It makes you say, okay, it's time for me to get in line. Motivated by your own stuff. Motivated by your hot desire. Your hot desire will do that. Your hot desire will close the kitchen. But the old Leanne is going to go, where are the cheese and crackers? That's my thing, especially because we have a whole bunch of stuff like that left over from when the kids were here. And I'm thinking, well, just a little snack of cheese and crackers. No, not just a little snack of cheese and crackers. Go ahead and fast. Go ahead and not have it. Go ahead and wait, because hot desire tells me that if I want something that's not involving, if I want something that has to do with the clothes that are hanging in my closet that I want to wear, it has nothing to do with cheese and crackers. Cheese and crackers are the enemy of the thing that I want. So what does my hot desire say? Say no to the cheese and crackers. Pantry's closed. The cracker box is closed. Stay away. So, when we clap and when we have the victory pose, sometimes it's just like, I gotta do something, I gotta move. Well, go dance. Turn on Motown and dance like no one's watching. Guess what that does? That changes your physiology. Or sing. Do a Noreen. Sing at the top of your lungs. What does that do? That changes your physiology. Yes, Amy Cuddy writes about this. Amy Cuddy has a great TED Talk. I talked about that. They're so great. Yes, vision boards. Vision boards feed this hot desire. My house was and still is a hot desire. I had all kinds of deep reasons for why I wanted to have this house, other than the fact that I would just plain enjoy it. But I also had a bigger vision for it. So when we do, we get motivated. Isn't it so wonderful how this goes? Hop, skip, and a jump. Boom, there you are. You're feeding this thing. That's the circle that we want. That's the cycle that we want. It's a fantastic thing. It's all sympathetic nervous system, by the way. It's a stimulation of that. And that is, that's an entirely different conversation. But it's important to understand that our physiology responds to the things that we do. And as we respond, as we do these things, as we start pushing those buttons instead of the old tired ones that we keep pushing, the old tired excuses that we keep fishing for, the old tired responses that we keep doing instead of the things that we know are going to give us a different result, everything changes. It's just time. And when you're done and when you're fed up and you're just really want something and you have that hot desire, boy, oh boy, do you get motivated, right? I mean, motivated. So number 4 is say something else. And you know what? I can pull this out of my own mailbag. Dear Leanne, click, click, click. I am just not motivated. I can't get off this couch. I just don't know what to do. I am just not motivated. I'm overwhelmed, blah, 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 blah. And I need to get motivated. I just can't. Well, you know what you're doing right there? You're affirming everything you don't want. You're giving that your energy instead of focusing on the things that you should be giving your energy to. When we give our energy to the very thing that we want, we build the hot desire. When we give our energy to the thing that we don't want, we keep confirming and affirming that. And guess what? Your reticular activating system, do you know what it says? See, here's your evidence. You can't get motivated. You can't do anything. You can't get off the couch. As a matter of fact, I think you should make a Facebook post about this and tell everybody you can't get off the couch. Go call a friend. Tell them you can't get off the couch. As a matter of fact, why don't you write that chick who always had the Daily Dish lady, write her, "Dear Leanne, I can't get off the couch." Do you see where all that energy is going? This is what happens. So we get consumed with that instead of consumed with what we want. Hot desire is built on the want and the desire and the need and that's motivation. This is all demotivating, but it's all confirming everything that you don't want. So stop it. I mean, just stop it. Because your brain's listening and it's going to help you to be defeated and it's going to say, see, there you go. You've got your evidence and you can't get motivated. You are the exception to the rule. This doesn't work for you. Sorry. Check out. Number 5 is go to the moon and take the stars with you. Because here's the thing. Sometimes we set the bar too low. Set it a little higher. Make yourself stretch a little bit. Because if it's easy for you, that means you need to work a little bit harder. And let me just say this. You know what that means? It just means that there's way more in there than you know. It means that when we have to work a little harder, when we have to put a little sweat onto our brow, when we have to do something that's a little bit beyond what we think that we can do, we build into ourselves, not only feed the hot desire, but we feed the motivation that keeps the hot desire kindled. It's really an amazing thing. We can be excited about that. We can say, you know what? I did it. You know what I did? I made it so that I had to push just a little harder. And look what I did. Look what I did. I've been so pleased with myself. Can I just say that? Just by doing the same thing. Just saying, you know what? I'm going to push a little bit harder. You know what? I'm going to do a little bit harder. And then if I get a little sore, get a little bit of whatever, you know what happens? I say, okay, I need to back out. My body's telling me a little bit something. But there is something so weirdly intrinsic about how strong you feel in your body and how strong you feel in your spirit and in your thoughts and your can-do-ness. All of it connects so incredibly. It is never about just one thing. It's about all the things. And this is why we do the challenges the way that we do, so we can keep it going. Crazy, isn't it how it works? Number 6 is we need to have more action and less talk on why you can't. What? I know, we kind of talked about that. But, you know, when you say I'm overwhelmed, then just stop for a minute. Analyze your goals, for heaven's sakes. Analyze them. What's going on? What's in the way of you getting what you want? I believe that when, you know, emotions are not bad things. Feelings aren't bad things. But sometimes they need to be put into a little container, put them in this little have grit and not quit, you know, cup, and just put them aside for a minute and just get analytical. What the heck's going on here? Why am I not hitting my goals? What's standing in the way of the success that I want? When you have a hot desire, you do that because you're solution oriented. You're done wallowing. You're done like, you know, I mean, it's just, how crazy is that? Why do we do things like that to ourselves? We do it on a regular basis because that's what you're used to. But we have an opportunity to have more action go into the problem solving that we need to. And when we do, motivation shows up in spades because suddenly you get creative. Suddenly it's like, I can schedule this earlier, or I can break it up, or I can call a friend and say, hey, I need you to keep me accountable. Whatever it is, we have the ability to put a whole heck of a lot more action into it and a lot less talk. So remind yourself of your hot desire every single solitary day. Remind yourself, hey, this is my hot desire. Kitchen's closed because there's no alignment with that. You can't align with a hot desire and a box of crackers at the same time, right? They don't align. They don't align. There's no way that they're ever going to align. So get yourself into that place of this is the hot desire. This is what I'm after. This is what I'm going to feed. Number 7, do it in the morning. Oh my gosh, that, you know, this is when your best frog eating happens, by the way, because you eat all the frogs. And if you didn't see that episode, there was a Mark Twain quote that we worked off of that. And that was just how If you have a big frog to eat it in the morning. If you have two frogs to eat the ugly one first. In other words, get rid of those frogs. We have to, the thing that you dread. And I did this with my, I've done this with exercise. I can't even tell you how many times I've played this weird game with it, but not anymore. It's now get it done in the morning. Show up here and say, I did it. Now today, true confession, I've done half of what I need to do. I need to do the rest of it because I had a bad night. I didn't sleep really well. It happens. So I slept in a little bit. That happens too, thankfully. So what? That just means today, this one day out of this month, or 2 days, maybe there were 3, that I have to adjust it a little bit. That doesn't mean I throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, well, it wasn't perfect, I didn't do it in the morning. No, I adjust. But for the most part, schedule your frog eating in the morning. Get it done. Number 8 is chunk it down into several things. I've done this with working out, and boy, has it changed my life. Absolutely. Because I can do anything for 10 minutes. I can do anything for 15 minutes. I got one here and one there and a thing here and a thing there. And what do you know? It's all throughout the day. I feel better. I look better. I'm, mostly sleeping better, except for last night. It's amazing what happens when you do those kind of things. And you know what? It motivates you to keep going. It motivates you so you can do that check mark that you finished that one goal. And number 9 is be specific. Hot desire requires specificity. It does. Because hot desire, who says, okay, let me ask you this. Does this make you have hot desire? I want to lose weight. Okay, well, you and probably millions of other people. I want to lose 20 pounds by September 30th. And this is my plan. This is what I'm going to do. I've weighed myself. I've measured myself. I have an accountability partner. We are going to meet once a week. I'm writing out my goals every day. Which one has the hot desire attached? Do you see that? What a difference. Because there's actual actionable plans and steps and things to do in order to get that done. It happens that way. It doesn't happen just by having a wishy-washy idea, Be specific. If you can measure it, if you could put a deadline on it, that hot desire is just like going ding, 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 and there's your motivation, right? Number 10, you know this one. Habits are cake, motivation is frosting. Repeat. Habits are cake, motivation is frosting. Or maybe I should say, habit is perfect paleo protein and frosting is hot milk mix. I don't know. Maybe I've got it all wrong. But if we can habituate instead of motivate, we're there. Because that automatically that's the automatic button for motivation. Just dang, even if you don't feel like it, just the fact that you show up, and I usually make it my goal to have most of my working out done. I might have an evening, afternoon walk with Lincoln, and I'll do a run walk with him or a power walk with him. But most of the, all my lifting and body and weightlifting and what have you is all done by 10 a.m. I like that. It makes it easy. It's habitual at this point. The only reason for a change is like, you have a bad night. Sure, we'll shift it out a little bit. That's cool. That's how it works. So what we need to do is we need to stop procrastinating on all of this and start stoking the fires of this hot desire. We all have a hot desire, and it's not, oh, I wish I had. It's, oh, she has it. I wish I had that too. That's not hot desire. That's just lukewarm, mamsy-pamsy, oh, I wish upon a star, Snow White was in the movies, gals, and it was a cartoon, We don't wish upon stars. We put the work into our lives. We put the work into our hot desires, and we put our eyes on the solution, and we don't take any of our own guff. Aren't you tired of your own excuses? I hear myself giving excuses. I want to gag and say, grow up, Leanne. Cut it out. Stop it. Sometimes you have to shift. Sometimes you got to change things up a little bit. Sometimes it doesn't work out exactly according to plan. But so what? That doesn't mean your day is done. That doesn't mean you can't atone and amend for what happened earlier and get back on track. Going off the rails is it's just nonsensical. It means that you don't get off the carousel of crazy. It means you live on the carousel of crazy. It means you put a stake into the carousel of crazy and claimed it as your own. The carousel of crazy is never, ever going to be about solutions. It's going to be about keeping you on that damn thing, around and up and down. There is no escape from the carousel of crazy until you decide to unplug it. Until you decide to unplug it and you've so had it, you push that thing down the hill and you throw a big bunch of gasoline on it, light a match and say goodbye. This is what we get to do when we're aligned with our hot desire. And we have the motivation to get off the carousel of crazy and start living a life that we want. That's vibrancy right there. That's how you connect the dots on the motivation to get what it is that you actually want. These are 10 powerful needle movers. I hope you took notes today, and I hope they make a big difference in your life. But you know what? The whole thing is everything that I have said, 100%, I'm going like this to you. What are you going to do with it? You going to use it? Or are you just going to listen to it? This ain't ear candy, sister. This is the real deal. It's time to get off your butt and start taking action on your life. If you want it, let's stoke the fire of hot desire. Deal? Pinkies up. Peace be with you. Pinkies up.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.